Beef is when Deebo Samuel and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson throw shade at each other on social media.
I thought you were about to go
Man,
full Biggie Smalls just now, is what I thought was actually about to happen. But all right, go ahead.
I thought this was so funny. Like, first of all, you got in one corner Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who is completely petty, unprovoked, lowest, like nothing you respect about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. He really doesn't need to talk about this. He's on the Lions. He should worry about whoever the Lions are playing next. But he said that Deebo Samuel won't have Trent Williams with him when he runs up on Chauncey Gardner-Johnson on or off the field. Like, what are you talking about, man? You're not going to square up with Deebo Samuel at the SBs or at the joint practice or at Walmart. Like, that's not going to happen. So I thought that was a really silly thing for him to say. And then he kept going and saying that Deebo is a running back and that he can't get open. That was funny. Like, that was like a zinger that landed, in my opinion. Then Deebo came back and said, "Yeah, well, I'm richer than you and I'm more famous." And I was like, ugh, we should have worked shop that one. We could have worked together and had something better, because really, that's just not really a comeback. But it's entertaining. What do you think of their spat? And do you think they'll make up?
Well, no, they're not going to make up. But if I was writing the material for Deebo, I would have responded with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in a Saints uniform, hanging on for dear life as George Kittle carried him down the field so that the 49ers could go win that game. That's what I would have responded with.
I remember that.
That's just me. So let me write your material next time, Deebo. But I like rivalries in football. I like ish talking in football. I really do enjoy it. However, the 49ers are coming off of a loss. Mm-hmm. I just laid out Deebo Samuel's numbers since he's been signed to a big contract. And Deebo, by the way, was hurt last week. Is he even going to play this week? He's got to rehab, all those things. I am not a big fan of Deebo in this moment, at this time, playing this game with a guy who's out with a pec injury and plays for a team that you're not even going to see unless you make it to the playoffs. Or excuse me, unless you match up in the playoffs. 49ers and the Lions are both going to make the playoffs. But unless you match up in the playoffs, you're not going to see them in the regular season. They're completely irrelevant to what you're trying to get done at this time. I just feel like the timing is really, really bad on this. I don't like the optics.
I feel like the Niners' like behavior is sort of like getting away from them. I mean, it started off with George Kittle wearing the F Dallas shirt. It was like unnecessary. And now Deebo, it's like, who cares about Dallas? Yeah, F Dallas, man. Like, don't even acknowledge them. Just beat them and move on. It's not, don't get down into the trenches with them. It seems silly. You did that. And now Deebo Samuel starts a fight with the Browns. And now he's in a fight with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. It's like, man, you guys need to keep the main thing the main thing. I like that expression. And Chauncey Gardner-Johnson ain't the main thing, right? It's the Vikings. You just lost to PJ Walker. You just lost to PJ Walker, Deebo,
Texas
George.
Ranger.
Yeah, man, George, you just had one catch for 1 yard the week after wearing that shirt. Like, you guys all need to chickadee check yourselves before you riggedy wreck yourselves. How many times do I have to say that? You were this close to riggedy wrecking yourself when all you have to do is chickadee check yourself first. And I think that's what the Niners need to do this week.
Let's parlay this into a quick conversation about Kyle Shanahan. So I think Kyle Shanahan has shown a lot of growth as a leader this year. The way he's taking blame upon himself. I feel like as a leader in front of the mic, he's much better than what he's ever been. And I'm giving him a ton of credit for that. Now, I didn't like hearing going into the game that, hey, this is going to be a tough one. And he told his team all these things, and you got to be ready for a fight, and we may not score 30 and don't care about your stats. However, I do kind of feel what he was trying to do. To me, that sounds like a leader that knows the pulse of his team is an arrogant one, and he's trying to bring them down a notch before they actually get humbled on the field and are brought down a notch that way. He was trying to get out ahead of it. Unfortunately, he couldn't. Sometimes, players, children, whatever, they've got to learn from their own lessons. They're not going to learn from the lessons you're trying to teach or your verbal ones. They've got to go out there and make their own mistakes. And that's what happened. But it's almost like Kyle Shanahan knew that this was around the corner and tried to stop it from happening before it did. He was unsuccessful. it is surprising to me that after what should have been a very humbling loss, and this is what's frustrating me about Deebo Samuel in this situation, I don't know that Deebo Samuel would have acted this way if he was on the field this last week and went through that with his brothers and lost a tight game. But because he didn't play, he's like, well, I mean, I didn't lose. I wasn't out there. If I would have been out there, we would have blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So now he's got this almost overconfidence again about him. It's like, dude, just chill for a week. Can you chill for a week and not get into it with another player across the league that has nothing to do with what you got going on?
I mean, you don't see Fred Warner doing this. You don't see Javon Hargrave doing this, right? I mean, you don't see Eric Armstead doing this, or Nick Bosa, or Travarius Ward, or I mean, what? It just seems immature, and it seems like a distraction, and it seems beneath the 49ers. They were talking about having a standard a week ago. This ain't it. Like you're the best team in the league. You want to be the best team in the league. Like act like it. You guys just lost to PJ Walker and committed 12 penalties in that game. Like, come on. You lost the standard for a week. It's right there. It's right. You didn't even misplace it. It's just on the other side of the room. It's there. The standard, it's there. Just go get it. Pick it up. Pick it up.
Just tap it in.
Tap it in.
Give it a little tappy.
Give it a little tappy. Like what? Come on. Come on.
Here's the thing about Deebo Samuel, and I appreciate this about him, is that he is the type of guy who I don't even know if he means to like talk a lot of ish to just be a jerk. He needs to put pressure on himself. He needs that outward pressure, and I can appreciate that. He's really what he's doing is trying to get himself going and trying to put a chip on his shoulder. But when you do it publicly versus between the lines, you start to put a mark on your whole team's back. And maybe some of the players on that team don't like that. Maybe they don't want to deal with any of that. You know what I mean? Like maybe they don't need that to get going. Deebo does, but then talk trash between the lines when the game is going. Get yourself going that way. Don't do it on a Tuesday afternoon show with Kay Adams.
I never understood the point of talking trash. I didn't play football, but like there's trash talking in basketball because you can't really hit the other person. But in football, like you literally can run as fast as you want, hit the other person as hard as you want. What's the point of like you could just play the next play and hit them? Why are you? Yeah. What are you talking about? I never understood that. Anyway, we got to go lightning round here with these super chats. Brother Bob, Iglet and Nails, you agree that Larry that CMC is a gadget running back?
No.
I mean, he's not Derrick Henry, but yeah, he can do it all. Brother Bob, GC and Nails, you also agree with Larry that BP needs gadget running back. I mean, I think he definitely benefits from a running back who can't be guarded man to man. Mike says, if no Super Bowl win, who's traded out next season? Purdy.
Oh, gosh.
I'm kidding. I take it back.
No. I hope not.
I don't know.
Kyle Shanahan.
Jake Moody. How about Jake Moody? It's gonna be all his fault. Steve M says Niners need to cancel all social media. Kyle too. Okay, Steve M. Win a chip, then run your mouth all you want. Jeff Grant, Niners need Jalen Johnson.
Oh gosh, I would love that.
Keith Murphy, the unbeaten, lack of focus and lack of being locked in. I didn't understand why he wasn't voted captain after a historic season. Now I see why. Yeah, he's not exactly acting like a captain. Cast Legion 49 says, Grant, have you thought about getting on the gram?
No, he hasn't.
No. 808 Niners says, man, just another check. CMC got a cash. Jess.
Yeah, it's yes. When Deebo runs his mouth, CMC's the one that has to cash the check. You're right.